Hi, hello, my name is Mia and welcome to the inaugural episode of Knitting Between the Lines. I am coming to you from Western North Carolina and I am a knitter and crocheter and reader, avid hobbyist, and I'm also a graduate student studying library and information sciences. So the point of this podcast is basically to share with you my current projects, to share with you plans for projects, anything knitting or crocheting related, as well as current reads, things I've been loving, and whatnot. I decided to start this podcast because I was posting a lot of this stuff on Instagram, but I felt like I was really oversaturating my feed and I wanted to go more in depth on things. So here we are, just hit my watch on the table. It's fine, we're gonna have quirks. This is gonna be a conversational approach. I'm not gonna edit anything. It's gonna be au naturel, and that's fine with me. This evening, I'm drinking the pumpkin chai rooibos tea. Rooibos, I can't say it, oh gosh. Out of my new, this is really the big thing, out of my new Ghosty mug from World Market. I think I'm gonna name him Ghosty. He's very cute and I love him. So I guess without further ado, let's jump into the things I have been working on the month of September. So I finished a pair of socks. Here they are. I haven't blocked them yet, but I finished a pair of socks. They were scrappy socks. I do not know the yarn off the top of my head. I'm very sorry about that. But I just wanted to use up some yarn, and I have a friend of mine that really loved this yarn when I was making a pair of socks for myself with it last year, and so I decided for her birthday I'd surprise her with a pair of socks. So that might spoil the surprise if she watches this video, but her birthday is coming up, so that's okay. So I just did a vanilla sock pattern with just a ribbed kind of pattern going down them, and they were very colorful. It was fun working with color. A lot of what I knit personally is very neutral color toned, so it was fun using a lot of color for these. So I finished them. I'm gonna block them soon and get them in the mail soon. I'm very excited for her to receive those. Let's see what I have been working on. The biggest project is my pink velvet sweater by Andrea Mowry. I knit my first Andrea Mowry sweater last year. I made oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name of it. I'll remember it eventually, but it's a very popular sweater pattern. Why am I forgetting it? But I made it. I've made a couple things of hers, but it was the first sweater that I made last year. And this year I decided I wanted to go for a colorwork sweater, which I hadn't done yet, and I chose her pink velvet pattern. And this has been my big project since I started it in early July, late June. So this is what it is looking like thus far. I have a little stitch marker there, that's what that is. And I'm working on the first sleeve right now. And I have a couple decreases until the cuff on it. I went up a needle size for the sleeve just because I find that works best for my arms, although looking at it, it looks so large. But I tried it on the other day and it fit beautifully. So I'm gonna try it on again before I get working on it later this evening, just to double check before I start to finish off this sleeve. But we are very close to being done with this sweater. The yarn I'm using is linen quill. The main color is fresh nutmeg. Yes, and then the contrast color is honey pink. So I was going for like kind of a 1970s vibe with the color work here, just the brown. I thought it would be very nice. I tend to lean a lot towards greens for stuff, and the last sweater I did was green. It was Andrea Mowry, the name that I blanked on. It's fine. So this is what this is looking like, and I really hope to have it done in the next couple of weeks. One nice thing about being in grad school, I'm actually in an online program, is that I can knit during class as long as it's not something that's going to take too much of my concentration and something I can set down to like take notes when I need to. So like the bottom part of this body, the sleeves, socks, perfect for in-class knitting. So I get like a lot done through that. So yeah, that's what that's looking like. I just want to show it on camera, but we'll move on to the next thing. I cast these on Thursday, which was the autumn solstice, equinox, I think it's equinox. I cast on my Halloween socks, and they're also kind of like my Socktober socks, but I started them a little early, and here's what they are looking like so far. I love them. So these are actually nomadic yarns, and the colorway is a self-striping colorway from Nomadic Yarns. I love her yarn so much, and it's the Sanderson colorway, so it's Hocus Pocus themed, which I am thrilled about because I love Hocus Pocus, and the new movie comes out this coming week actually, so I wanted to cast these on. And then the black colorway up top with the cuff is Black Cat, also by Nomadic Yarns. I just got a mini skein, so my plan is to do black cuff with a black heel, probably like a fish kiss heel or something like that, and then just have the colorway going all the way down. I had originally thought I'd do the black on the tote as well, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough. I get so freaked out with mini skeins that I'm not gonna have enough yarn, and I hate playing yarn chicken. So yeah, that's what they're looking like. I really love the colors. You can't see as well on video, but the top right there is a dark burgundy. Actually, I'm about to go into it again. So self-striping, gorgeous. I love just how beautiful her colors are. Just absolutely stunning. I also have a few gift knits that I've been working on that I don't want to show on camera right now, just because they are kind of obvious for the people that are receiving them. They know they're receiving gifts, and they generally like would probably pick up on it. So I'm not going to show those on camera, but I do have a couple gift knits I'm working on. I will show you this that I'm working on for myself, but I can't say what it is because it matches another gift knit that I finished in September. My hair is falling. I have it back in a pen and it's falling down. But this is the second one that I'm making for myself. I can't go much more in depth on that, but the yarn for it is the bergère de France. It's from France. She brought it back from France, and oh, which colorway is it? Is it the, I don't know if it's the poudre or the végétal, but it's on my Ravelry. If you want to like really go stalk it, you can find it on my Ravelry. But it's this really pretty, like kind of pink, and I want to say like gray, but it gives off more brown vibes because of the pink, I think. But no, it's more of like a pink gray with some sparkle colorway. This is all just garter right now. So I will show you my finished product hopefully next time if I finish it. It has been a hot second since I have worked on this, and the main reason for it is because the pattern I'm using is actually in French. My French is very rusty at the moment, and of course it's my first French knitting pattern. Abbreviations, everything are entirely different, so I'm gonna have to look up the increases again on how to do them, because they were also something different than what I'm used to for increases. So I'm gonna have to look up the YouTube video again before I can move on to this pattern. So this has been sitting like this for like 3 weeks now. That's fine. I have a lot of other things happening, so it's okay. And then the other gift knit I'm working on is actually a crochet project, so hopefully I'll be able to show that next time if I haven't already finished and gifted it. We shall see. So I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. We're gonna move on. It's good, it's just hot. To what I've been reading the last few weeks. So I have multiple projects happening at once with knitting. I usually have multiple books that I'm reading at once, and it's not entirely easy to juggle. I read a lot for school. I also work full-time. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I do a lot of reading in a day, and so reading that I do for fun usually comes last. But the book I've been reading a lot before bed is actually Bram Stoker's Dracula. So I've been reading that on my Kindle, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I know people that read it in high school and they all complained about it, but everyone complains about the classics you have to read in high school. So I decided to read it for spooky season coming up, just wanting something kind of cozy and kind of spooky, but cozy-ish, and the fact that it's like a classic, and I don't know, classics tend to be cozier for me. And I am actually, I'm really enjoying it. It's on my Kindle, so I don't have it to show. It's not super interesting, it's just on a Kindle. Other books I'm reading, I started Persuasion by Jane Austen, and I love this copy. It has like gold foil there, and it's just like beautiful pages. Look at that. So I've been reading this. I'm not super far into it. I'm only to chapter 8, and it's one that's come, like, it's kind of on the wayside. I don't typically read books in bed because I need a light, and this one especially is heavy. It's just heavy on my wrist to read in bed. So I opt to read things on Kindle, but I found this copy of Persuasion, thought it was really pretty. I saw the adaptation on Netflix without having ever read the book first. Wasn't crazy about the adaptation, but the storyline was intriguing, so I wanted to read the book, and I do love Jane Austen. And of course, this is the second classic I've mentioned that I'm reading. Basically, I have a reading goal every year. I do try to read a certain number of books. It's not a super high goal because I have a lot going on, but I have like little goals within it. So I try to read one classic a year and one Stephen King a year. So I finished Pet Sematary in July, and I had picked up Persuasion as my classic, but now I'm reading Dracula, so we'll just hopefully finish 2 classics before the end of the year. I'm also reading a book called Backwoods Witchcraft by Jake Richards, The Conjure and Folk Magic from Appalachia. This is a very interesting book. I, again, haven't picked this up recently. I've been reading it like out on my porch, which has been really nice, especially as the weather has gotten crisper. This is just very, very interesting. I live in the Appalachian Mountains. I'm essentially from Appalachia, so it's just really interesting to read about the history of folk magic and how that relates back to the history of Appalachian people in the Appalachian Mountains, as well as Indigenous peoples. So, been loving this book, and those are the books that I've been reading. This isn't a very long kind of update. I'm gonna have to figure out like if I need to fill more time or if this is good, but I think this is good. Maybe I was talking too fast. I don't know, but I figured I would end it off by just talking about things that are coming up, projects I want to work on soon. As you can see, I'm finishing up a sweater project. Those socks will likely be done in a matter of weeks because I'll be able to work on them while in class. So next I want to cast on, I think, a shawl. It's been a while since I made like a good like large shawl, like a winter shawl kind of. I've done like a couple one skein shawls here and there, but it's been a while since I did a large one, and the pressed flowers shawl has been calling my name for months. I have been dying to start a pressed flowers shawl, so that might be my next project. But I'm also looking at Emma Janet Bloom & Creates Maya Pullover that was published in this issue of Pom Pom magazine, and I should have brought the magazine in here with me to show you the sweater pattern. It is gorgeous. However, it involves steeking, which kind of scares the shit out of me, to be honest with you. Steeking is just, it's knit entirely in the round, and then you just cut holes for like the arms, and I'm like, I don't know. But I think my next project will likely be the pressed flower shawl, because I just finished a sweater. I have a huge kit coming in the mail for from the Sorella Autumn in New York collection, and I bought sweater quantity to make the Kelly pullover, which was designed by Two of Wands. It's actually a crochet sweater pullover that goes with that Autumn in New York collection. So when I receive that yarn, will then be crocheting a sweater. So I have a good sense of sweaters right now, fulfillment of sweaters. So I'm thinking shawl, I'm thinking pressed flowers, pressed flower shawl. Yeah, I'm thinking that, and of course the Southeastern Atlantic Fiber Fair SAF is happening in just a couple weeks now, towards the end of October, and that is held a few miles from my house. It's like the largest fiber fair, I think, in the Southeast. It's the closest I'll get to Rhinebeck in the near future, and it's just a great fiber fair. So I plan to go there and definitely get the yarn for pressed flower shawl and probably some more socks. And this issue of Pom Pom Mag had some beautiful beret patterns that I want to try, so I have an ongoing list of things I want to get at SAF in my head right now, and the next time I see you here on YouTube, I will likely have a full SAF haul with a bunch of yarn. So that'll be a very exciting second episode. But yeah, I think that's basically it for this first episode of Knitting Between the Lines. I guess I didn't really give you a reason at the beginning why I decided on this name for the podcast, but basically I wanted something that would reflect reading and reflect knitting as my two major interests. And I honestly thought of the PBS show Reading Between the Lines. I loved that show as a kid, and of course that's a play on reading between the lines. And so then I thought knitting between the lines, and of course I think there is a phrase in knitting called like knitting like reading between the stitches kind of ordeal, where you can like read your stitches. I don't know, maybe I'm making that up, but I swear I've heard it before. So I thought reading or knitting between the lines would be a good maybe name for a knitting podcast, and I didn't see that anyone had taken it, so I went for it. But yeah, that's it for our first episode of Knitting Between the Lines. If you feel so inclined to subscribe, please do. I would greatly appreciate it and love to share our love of knitting and reading and fiber arts together. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'll link it below. I'll link everything else below, patterns on Ravelry, and whatnot. My hair needs to be put back up again, so I think we're gonna call this an evening. Thank you for joining, and I'll be seeing you in a few weeks.